now, you're tuned into RBLR, the home of Tampa Bay's Reveler Sports.
What is going on, RBLR Nation? You are tuning into the Rays portion of RBLR Sports. I am back after 2 weeks off. I'm one of your hosts, Zach Blaine, and here with me is the one and only, the one who held it down, Mr. Ben Whitelaw. How are you doing today, brother?
Hey, good morning, Zach. It wasn't just me. Eureka was helping out too, did a great job facilitating and all that stuff. So, yeah, it's good to have you back.
I'm happy to be back. I'm glad that Eureka got to be on the show, man. I miss having him on here. So it was definitely a much-needed little vacation and then just other stuff. But it was amazing to be back in Florida for, a few days.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I know Eureka's schedule is so packed, so we can't really have him on all the time. But, maybe someday we can get him as a guest, even though he's just sitting there muted right now.
Yeah. To the fans listening, you guys have no idea, but Eureka is in every single show. He's just not in the show. Oh, anyway, man. To me, a very kind of disappointing week of Rays baseball.
Yeah, I mean, they had some close games. They were in every single game, but yeah, they just missed like a big hit or two because, Brandon Lowe is out again, so that sucks.
Yeah, I think the only game they weren't in was the 10-3 loss to the Yankees off the rip when, well, I guess there was two of those where they scored a whole bunch of runs in the first two innings.
Yeah, I forgot about those. I was thinking all the Toronto games. But yeah, the Yankees ones, like once they lost that middle game of the series, they kind of just punted the series because like they needed pitching. They had to kind of like let Patino wear it a bit. But yeah, I mean, because like losing the series 2-1 versus winning it 2-1, there's no significant difference. They really kind of just needed the sweep to make a difference for the division. But yeah, it is what it is. Thankfully, they played really well in Toronto. They just dropped, a couple because some untimely hits, or so I guess some timely hits for the Blue Jays.
Blue Jays, yeah.
Yeah, and then the one yesterday to the Rangers, that was, annoying, but they still played well enough to win that game. It just didn't happen, which, that's baseball.
Yeah, agreed. I think they, aside, like you said it perfect, aside from the Yankees series, they were in every game that they played this week.
Yeah, so I've got a couple things from listeners that they've sent me on Twitter, Reddit, all that stuff. I think there are a couple things we can cover right off the top here, but then other things we'll actually cover in our topics because they've asked about those things. So one person here, Twitter user at Mejia to Hall of Fame. So great. That's a great name. I don't know about that, but yeah, they mentioned that Charleston and Bowling Green both reached their championship series in the minor league. I know Bowling Green takes on the Orioles High A affiliate, but I forgot who Charleston takes on. But yeah, another Rays minor league success. They continue to prioritize winning and development because you can have both. You don't have to pick between the two. So it's really cool to see them, being successful there. So a lot of fun prospects, though, in both of those teams.
So who are the big prospects to be, I guess, watching for in the championship games or in the championship series? Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, well, we've got Junior Caminero in Charleston now. He started off the season in the Florida Complex League, but he is just so good at like 19 years old. He's dominating. We've also got in Bowling Green a couple of guys from the Nate Lowe trade. Sorry, I forgot his name already.
There's so many of them, man.
Yeah. But anyways, Hernandez and Ovales are both in Bowling Green. Those are two big pieces in that trade. Oslavis Besabe, he's in Montgomery already, which is crazy. So a lot of really good prospects came over from him. But pitching in both teams is really nice too. Austin Vernon, I think he's with Bowling Green now. And then Charleston's just got literally like 10, 20-year-olds that all throw like 98 miles an hour. So great stuff on both squads.
So that's promising, though, to me, looking forward to some of those guys, making the show at some point.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like they've got so much talent all over the place. Another Twitter user. I don't even know how to say this. At Infators, I don't know. He wanted us to talk about playoff rotation stuff, which we will get into later in the show, so that's great. And then there was one more. Oh yeah, Andy Ingles. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Sorry if I'm not. He asked about the Orioles. Like, um, are they going to catch us? Could they catch us? And I think that's a pretty good thing to bring up because like they're out of it right now, but they're only like what
I
four and
think
a half games out?
yeah, I was gonna say I think it's 4.5 games. Well, it might be a little more because they lost last night. No, it would have stayed the same. So yeah, it's 4.5 games out.
Yeah, and I know that they have like a relatively easy schedule compared to the Rays. The Rays do own that tiebreaker, so they won the season series against the Orioles. So if it comes down to that, they do have the upper hand there. But yeah, the Orioles play the Blue Jays a lot, and the Blue Jays are one of the teams in the wild card, so they might try to make a push here late.
Yeah, it feels like if the Orioles make that push, I in a weird way, I think the Rays are safe still. Because if the Orioles make that push, I feel like it's going to push the Blue Jays out. So it's kind of, could they catch up? Yes. Do I think they're going to knock the Rays out? I think that's where it kind of gets a little murky, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. I'm on the same page. Like I don't really think the Orioles are necessarily a threat to the Rays like in terms of knocking us out of a wild card spot, maybe in a playoff series, but like I don't really think they have the pitching to last 3 games like that. If it was like a 1 game playoff, I think like, that Baltimore bullpen, they could go toe to toe with anybody, but yeah, I'm on the same boat. I don't really see them as a huge threat to us, but definitely Toronto. Like Toronto is very streaky up and down, and I know Baltimore's been struggling as of late, but they still have a pretty decent team, so they might be able to push for it. But I don't think I'm yeah, they've been calling up prospects. It seems like they're kind of just punting the season at this point, which
Yeah.
makes sense, but anything can happen, I guess.
They're one of the more impressive teams, kind of. I don't want to say impressive, but most unexpected teams this season for me.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they're in like this is a transition year for them, like 100%. They're, rebuilding. They've got some good players in the minors. They've got one of the better systems too, like minor league systems. So they weren't supposed to be this good already. So next season they're definitely going to be, contenders. But for now, I don't think so too much. But that might change next week. Who knows?
Yeah, I think at this point it's all just kind of a waiting game. It's all going to play out. I think it's been one of the more exciting final few weeks of American League Baseball, and for me anyway.
Yeah, it's gonna get crazy here at the end, but I think that's all the stuff I've had. I mean, we're gonna cover like the playoff rotation stuff. We're gonna cover the 40-man crunch. I feel like that's for an episode like after the season because once everything kind of settles, we'll see all that. But yeah, thank you everybody for those questions. If you ever want to hear anything, literally just tweet, DM, reply, contact us, hieroglyphics. I don't know. Um, on our social medias, we're at RBLR Sports. So make sure you follow, subscribe, like, comment, donate, purchase, um, bop it, twist it. I don't know. All of those.
Oh, I love it. And I think you kind of brought up both of our topics for this week's show. We're going to be talking about a lot of hypothetical playoff stuff. Um, I think you had mentioned wanting to do like a playoff rotation, and I was going to go over you know, what our ideal playoff lineup would look like. So if you want to jump right into the playoff rotation, we can go ahead and do that.
Yeah, definitely. So there's this kind of like working theory I'm still hammering out, but basically I thought about it last year before the playoffs, and every single team since like we actually started doing playoffs in 1969, because before that it was like just the top AL and NL team would go and play in the World Series without any playoffs. So since 1969 they started with like a 12 team playoff kind of thing. I know they've expanded it recently, so it's going to look a little bit different, but the main concept is you need to have 2 or 3 guys who are capable of throwing like 60 innings between the 2 or 3 of them if you want to have a chance at the World Series. So there is a little bit of like survivorship bias in the way that like if you get to the World Series, you're already throwing more innings. But the thing is, though, they need to be like quality innings, and saying quality innings, that definition could mean a lot of things to different people. Um, and each year, depending on different run environments and stuff like that, it's different. But if you look back literally at every single World Series matchup, the team that has the 2 to 3 guys, so like each team is going to have 2 to 3 guys throwing 60 innings, but whoever's 2 to 3 are better than the others 2 to 3, they're winning the World Series like every single time. So it's cool to see that pattern. And we saw it last year too with the Braves. They had 3 guys who totaled 60 innings and they ended up winning it. So yeah, basically my topic is to introduce that. And then what do you think those 2 to 3 guys, or who do you think those 2 to 3 guys are for the Rays if they were to make a World Series run?
Yeah, so up until this week, I was very solid on my top three, but this week I think Shane McClanahan is number one to me still.
Oh yeah,
And then Jeffrey Springs has been hot towards the second half of the season. So I would put Springs in there, and that's where I get lost on either Rasmussen or Kluber. But Kluber's arm the last couple of games has not looked the best.
yeah, it's gonna be interesting how they piece that together, because I know the bullpen set, like they're gonna be solid. They're
Yeah,
very deep. I'm not worried about that. Just finding those innings from two. It's probably gonna be 3 guys because everybody's already hitting like career highs or long time highs in innings pitched. Except like
exactly.
actually everybody's at a career high except for Kluber, but he hasn't pitched this much in years since like
Yeah,
2018 or
this
2019.
is counting this season. This will be the highest in 4 seasons.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So I know McClanahan, he's going to eventually have to get slowed down. So I'm not expecting like, in the playoffs, all these guys to go 6, 7, 8 innings. But for the Rays playoff rotation kind of thing, I'm thinking definitely McClanahan number one. Like he's the American League Cy Young. Like there's no way around it. He has been the best pitcher in the American League. So he's got that on lock. He's going to be the number one playoff starter in game one. Number two, definitely Rasmussen for me. Like seeing what he's doing, like with the under the hood, like uncharted territory stuff of seam shifted wake and tunnels. Like he's probably going to be like a top 15, top 20 pitcher. Like going forward, I don't really see him falling off much anymore. He's got some really great stuff, and his body is responding well to the workload. Like
Yeah,
he's still throwing hard. And then 3 is a little fuzzy because you could either go with Kluber, who he's been a little rough recently, but he's shown he can handle the workload. He's been successful in the playoffs and all that stuff. Springs has been better lately, but he's at a career high in innings pitched by like a lot at the major league level. So it's really just kind of like I think they're going to go with the hot hand. But the Rays will definitely lean more towards 3 to get 60 innings rather than 2 because of all
yeah,
the workloads and all that stuff. So yeah, I would definitely go McClanahan, Rasmussen, Springs for now, but that might change.
yeah. So that's the same 3 that I have. I didn't have Rasmussen and Springs in order, but I think I would do the exact same order you had. But I do think that Kluber gets in there and makes a difference. I don't think that it will just stick to 3, but the top 3 I think right now is McClanahan, Rasmussen, and Springs.
Yeah, definitely. Like Kluber will play a part. Like he's going to get important innings for sure because he can handle it. And then
Yeah,
Yarborough's also kind of on the outside looking in. Like Yarborough's been I was looking at it earlier. He's got like a 1.83 ERA and like a 2.5 FIP over his last like 5 games. And then since coming back, like on a regular basis from Durham in like mid July, he's been like an above average pitcher with like ERA, FIP, strikeout to walk rate. So if something goes wrong with like Springs or Kluber, Yarborough's kind of that next man up, and he's been really good against good competition. Like he's dominated the Yankees 3 or 4 times this year, I think. So, he could be a guy that's maybe capable of getting more innings in the playoffs. But again, I think we'd have to see maybe an injury or something going wrong before that happens.
I think it's interesting to note too that if I'm not mistaken, this was kind of our same lineup or rotation from last year that we were talking about as far as McClanahan and Rasmussen. But Rasmussen was more of the question mark last year. Obviously, we added Kluber, but last year I was all in on Patino being the number 3 guy, and it's kind of crazy to see the what's the word I'm looking for? How able Rasmussen and McClanahan were to kind of hold on to those spots.
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely speaks more about them than Patino, because Patino he's the youngest pitcher in the league, which is crazy to think about. So he's still developing. He's still really young. He's 22. He's younger than Shane Baz, and Shane Baz is one of the youngest pitchers in the league. So he's really close to being good. He's just, mechanically kind of out of sync right now. And sometimes he has it, sometimes he doesn't, but that's how rookies are. And like young,
Exactly.
well, I guess he's not a rookie because he's pitched a lot, but that's how young players are. Like they're good and they're bad, and then they're good and then they're bad. But really, the highs are more important than the lows, because the lows are like, those are things that he can fix pretty easily, but his highs are so high. Like he has so much potential. So I don't know about him this year for the playoffs, but next year I think he could be, pretty valuable. But we also have Tyler Glass now, who's like kind of working his way back.
Oh yeah.
He was a little shaky in his last rehab outing, but he like doubled his pitch count. So he's slowly getting built back up. It's going to take a couple more, maybe honestly like a month's worth of rehab outings before he probably gets added to the roster, but his stuff is there. So he's looking really good right now.
Yeah. I'm jumping ahead a little bit. Next year is just going to be ridiculous. With a top 3 of McClanahan, Glasnow, and Rasmussen. And like, we can't forget, we also have Shane Baz, we have Luis Patino. Like, our starters are going to be the best in the league next year.
Oh yeah, as health permitting, like this is the best pitching staff in baseball, without a doubt. Like it's not even close.
No, exactly. I was going to say by far.
I guess that's it though for the playoff rotation stuff. I know Glasnow is still kind of like a wild card, but I don't really see him getting starters innings. But you never know. Maybe he gets really, really healthy really fast.
Yeah, I think best case scenario, if we're going to see Glasnow, is a bullpen role, maybe a high leverage bullpen role or something. But I don't think that he gets starter innings.
Yeah, definitely not. Maybe like a 2008 David Price kind of thing, but like I think he might be able to throw more than that. Like I could see him throwing like a Colin McHugh type thing where he's going like one time through the order and just shutting him down for 2, maybe 3 innings. So yeah, we'll see though. It's exciting. There are a lot of things trending in the right direction with the pitching staff.
Yeah, it's exciting to think about, and I know that I'm pumped for the playoffs with the guys that we got, and that kind of leads in. Well, no, I mean not kind of. It definitely leads into my topic of if we were to start the playoffs tomorrow, what would our perfect lineup be? And I figure we would go position by position. I'm not going to do like who bats first, who bats second, but just a position by position, who you would want playing that position in a playoff game.
Right. I mean, who's the? All right. Can we do like if everybody's healthy? Is that the assumption, or
okay?
Or just like right now?
I did right now.
Okay.
On my lineup, but it would only change probably one position for me. So if you want to do, if everyone's healthy, I'm cool with that.
Okay, I mean, I'll do it now. I'll just assume everybody's still hurt, and that's
all right. So we'll start off with catcher. Who do you have at catcher?
Bethancourt. What about you?
At Bethancourt. I figured that was probably a pretty easy one.
Yeah, his framing has been incredible. Great bat. He barrels a lot of baseballs. He is cool with like his wiffle ball kind of swing where he just like slaps the ball everywhere, but like I think Bethancourt. If we're looking for production, it's going to be Bethancourt.
Yeah, I think Bethancourt is better all around. I know that Mejia is fast for a catcher, but I think that Bethancourt, as an all around catcher, is a better player.
Yeah, definitely.
So I have Bethancourt at catcher, and then I got first base. Who's your first baseman? I think this is probably the first spot that we're going to have a disagreement on.
Yeah, probably. I mean, the Rays platoon so much though. So who are they? What pitcher are they? What kind of pitcher are they facing in the first game here?
See,
so catcher doesn't really matter.
Exactly. So I looked at it more of a just kind of who do I think is going to be able to produce the best, and I didn't look at like pitching who we were facing. But so like I put Paredes at first base.
Yeah, that's what I would put if they're facing a lefty, 100%. But if they're facing a righty, I'm going Ji-Man Choi.
Choi, yeah. So I think that's where. So let's say for this they're facing an ambidextrous pitcher. So yeah, I went Paredes at first. I honestly expected you to go Choi at first. I put Choi all the way down at my DH. Okay. So we're getting kind of the best of both worlds.
All right, so then Choi's your DH. I'm just gonna say Aranda, honestly. Like I would DH him. I'm assuming we're playing a righty if I'm gonna have Choi at first base. So I would put Aranda at DH because we've seen enough with the glove to know that. I'll leave it at that. We've seen enough with the glove.
All right, who do you have at second base?
Second base. So assuming we're playing a righty, that's gonna be Paredes for me. If Choi's at first, then Paredes is gonna get second. He can hit righties. He's fine. Any pitch inside, he's gonna turn on it. So it doesn't matter righty lefty. He can do both.
So I put again. This was assuming that Lowe is still out. I put Walls at second base.
Yeah, that's my other option too, I guess. If Paredes, yeah.
Real big on my notes, I put defensive purposes only. Like,
right.
I don't expect to get very much offensive production from him.
Yeah, I mean, and if Lowe is healthy for the playoffs, that's his spot, 100% locked,
without a doubt,
not going anywhere. So,
without a doubt. I think third base is pretty obvious in Yandy Diaz. He's been probably the best hitter all around for the Rays this season.
Yeah, he's been like probably close to the team MVP. Like if Shane McClanahan wasn't having his Cy Young campaign,
exactly.
Yandy Diaz, but yeah, he's been the most consistent, probably the best hitter on the team this year. Which is great because the Rays have had so many injuries that it's nice to be able to rely on someone like Yandy.
Exactly. And then shortstop, I mean, I think that's another very obvious one. The future face of the league, Mr. Wander Franco.
Yeah, he's been pretty bad really since coming back from his injury, but that was expected with he doesn't really have much power right now. So I think he'll continue to get stronger just as he heals. So by default, he'll get better, but he's had an 84 WRC plus since returning. So it's there's not that much of a difference offensively between him and Walls right now. But yeah, Franco would still be my playoff starter just because I know he'll continue to get healthy.
Yeah, and for me with Franco, like you said, he hasn't been great since he came back from injury, but knowing his ability to be great, I think puts him very firmly in that starting shortstop position for the playoffs just because I know what he has the ability to do, so it's maybe it'll click.
Yeah, I mean it's really just an injury thing. He just has to continue to get healthy, which he is doing. They're managing him really well, so I'm not concerned about him.
So then we have the outfield. That one was – some of it was very easy. Obviously, Arozarena playing. And for center field and left field, that was more so where I was kind of having struggles with. But I went with Siri in center and Margot in left.
Yeah, that's what I would do if they're playing – against a lefty. If they're playing against a righty, I'd swap Peralta with Margot.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty much the same thing though. Siri has to be in there like in important games. He's probably the best defensive outfielder in baseball. Rosarena, we know what he does all the time, especially in the playoffs. He's great. And then Peralta's been awesome against righties. Margot's been awesome against lefties. So it's a great platoon to have out there.
Exactly, and that's my DH spot. I know I said that I put Choi, but I actually put 3 names down there. It was 3 people that I have faith in hitting the ball, and it was Peralta, Ramirez, and Choi.
Okay.
So
Oh wait, yeah, Peralta.
depending on who we're facing, I mean, I think that would be ideal.
Yeah, definitely. I'm starting to, not that I'm losing faith in Ramirez, but we're seeing the regression happen. Like all these ground balls, like he's starting to just get out a lot now. He's been a below league average hitter for like his last, like, I want to say like 60 plate appearances. So it's starting to get like
Wow.
a pretty healthy sample size. Um, he's, I mean, like he gets the bat on the ball, which is cool. And that's useful in some situations, but like, yeah, I mean, I know he had a home run recently, which was cool, but like other than that, he's just kind of like grounding out. He's starting to strike out a little bit more. He's never really taken his walks because he's not that kind of hitter. But yeah, I don't know if I would start him in like a must-win game right now because also he's a pretty good pinch hitting option. Like he can just come off the bench
Yeah.
and hit like a bloop single. So there's that. But right now, that DH is going to be a Ronda for me just because of that. The quality of contact is insane for a first year player with inconsistent playing time. Like he's really, I'm so impressed with the bat.
Yeah, no, his bat has looked really good, and I think, as bad as it sounds, a DH role is perfect for him.
Oh yeah,
Like,
that's what he needs.
I don't trust him in the field, but I trust his bat.
Yeah, same. I mean, he can improve with the glove for sure, but we've seen enough.
Yeah, I don't think he's winning any Gold Gloves anytime soon.
Yeah, I don't know how legit that corner outfield experiment was to begin with him because like if you're struggling to feel the ground ball that's hit right at you at second base and it's like not even coming in that hard, like I don't know about him chasing down a line drive in the gap. That scares me a bit.
Yeah, no, it's, in my opinion, it's much more difficult to catch a fly ball than it is to field a grounder. So
Yeah, I mean he can improve, but right now I'm good.
yeah, I like him at DH.
Yes.
But yeah, so I think that for the most part we agree on most of the rotate or the lineup stuff, which is, I was expecting a little more of a debate, but I think that it went relatively smoothly.
Yeah, I mean it's really just it comes down to platoons mostly.
Yeah.
But they're probably going to face more righties than lefties in the playoffs. Just statistically, there are fewer lefties. So
Yeah.
But they have a really deep lineup. They just have to get healthy and stay healthy. And Brandon Lowe is such a big part of that. Like we've seen them struggle a little bit lately without having that consistent threat in the lineup because really him and Yandy are like the 2 guys you really can't pitch to. But Yandy, even if you don't pitch to him, he's still going to get on base. So he's kind of immune to that. But Brandon Lowe just makes everybody better when he's in the lineup, even when he's playing hurt like he's been this season. So hopefully he can get healthy because he would be a huge add for the playoffs.
Yeah, and something else that would be a huge add is all you fantastic listeners adding some of the most badass RBLR sports merch to your wardrobe. If you guys go check out shop.rblrsports.com, we have some of the coolest Rays inspired, Bucks inspired, Rowdies inspired. We got the Lightning, we got the Bandits. I don't think I'm missing anything. Am I missing? Oh, the Bucks. I am missing something. The former Super Bowl champion Bucks inspired merch, and I'm telling you, some of the coolest stuff you'll see around. And I'm going to send it over to Ben. I believe he's got a discount code for you guys.
Yeah, I was struggling to remember what it was, but it's Flappy. That's FLAPPY. You put that in, you get 10% off your order. Unless you're a Yankees fan, you got to pay double. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the ad read there.
All right, so that's all of our topic stuff this week of baseball. Let me hear your hard hitting points on this week of baseball.
Kind of what I was saying at the end of our playoff thing is we need Brandon Lowe back. Like they're missing that like one more hit per game that he could provide, or the one more quality at bat, the one more fly ball. Like they're so close in every single game. They're in every game. They're just missing a little bit of offense, and that's what he would provide. I know we're not gonna get it from Wander right now because he's still, working his way back, getting more strength in his hand. We can't count on Isak Paredes to be hot every day. We can't count on Rene Pinto to come up and just continue to hit. It's really hard to rely on people consistently who aren't named Yandy Diaz. So
Yeah.
we really need Brandon Lowe, or we need like 3 or 4 guys to get hot until he gets back.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I think we took a lot of the losses we took kind of hurt more because it did drop us down to third, the third wild card spot. But I mean, a big part of it to me this week was pitching. Like we had Jeffrey Springs come out and throw a very good game. McClanahan came back from his IL stint and threw a solid game. I mean, it wasn't big numbers compared to what we normally see him throw, but those were really the only two longer than 5-inning good games.
Yeah, like the pitching was fantastic. Cooper Criswell came up and was really great out of nowhere, which was really cool. Jason Adam got some redemption after an unlucky Bichette home run. Fairbanks is awesome as always. Rasmussen was okay. He just couldn't really throw a slider for a strike this week, but he'll figure it out. I'm not worried about that. Garrett Clevenger was awesome. He was awesome. Javi Guerra, he's up for good now, I hope, allegedly.
Fingers crossed.
Awesome. He's got an electric elite fastball. Like it's literally like an 80 grade fastball. They just decided to create that for him. It's insane. Kluber, he keeps getting like BABIP'd a lot. Like so many ground ball, 80-mile-an-hour singles between defenders, 75-mile-an-hour bloops off the bat. Like it sucks that this keeps happening to him, but I'm not too stressed about it. He rebounded and picked it up for a couple more innings against the Rangers yesterday. So really, it's just, I mean, his sweeper was a little flat, but he's still getting so much weak contact. It's just like too weak that the defenders like aren't getting to the ball. So that's annoying, but he's fine. Not worried about him. The common theme though is the offense is like literally 1 or 2 swings short of winning every single game.
Yeah, and I think when I say the pitching was kind of the issue, I guess I should have been more descriptive because I think the starting pitching was kind of the issue this week. I know that we played the doubleheader on Thursday. We won the first game, lost the second game, or not Thursday, Tuesday, my bad. But aside from like the bad, I think it was interesting, or in a good way. On Thursday, we started 9 Latin American players on Roberto Clemente Day.
Yeah, that was really cool. I read that it was unintentional, so that's kind of cool that they were just able to do that. But I don't know. I don't know about that. We'll say it was unintentional just because that's what Cash said. But it's either way, it's cool. Like that's awesome. So great for them. And then they had like their Twitter last night. I don't know if they're going to continue to do it, but they were like tweeting in Spanish, which was cool. So it's a really like great. It's a great thing they're doing, and it's a little bit different than what we've seen in the past. So it's cool that they're like really tapping into this and having fun with it.
Yeah, that's one thing I feel like we don't touch on very much, but the social media aspect of the Rays, they have been in every like changing their name and like for the gun of violence stuff, and like they've done a little bit of everything with every major thing that's happened this season, and it's cool to see a baseball teams, and as much as I hate to admit it, the Yankees did it too. And I hate them, but also respect them for this. But it's like they're taking kind of away from baseball and looking into real world problems and real world problems and real world things. And I respect the hell out of that for like their social media teams doing that. It's something that I haven't seen before, and I love to see it.
Yeah, it's cool that they just do it, and then some people get mad, some people don't, but they're gonna stick to their guns. And yeah, I like it. They're great on social media though. Like all their accounts are always like engaging and funny. Their TikTok is really good too. So um, yeah, it's a great organization, top down, on the field, off the field. It's awesome.
Could not agree more. So I think that leads us to our arm of the week and bat of the week.
All right, who is your bat of the week?
All right, so my bat of the week, I did go with Margot off the 8 hits, 5 RBIs. I know he got most of those RBIs in the I believe the Wednesday game or one of the
Yeah,
games he had
he had a
3
3-run
RBIs.
double.
Yeah. So I gave it to him just based off of he had the most RBIs on the team this week.
Nice. I went with Isak Paredes. He had a 213 WRC plus, which led the team. So he was 113% better than the league average hitter this week. He had a zero point 0.4 F war, which like the next highest was zero point 0.2, and there's not much of a difference, but he still led the team in WAR there. Led the team in OPS with a 1064. And what's encouraging is he's seeing the ball well. He's pulling fly balls in the air, and he struck out and walked the same amount of times this week. So he struck out 3 times, he walked 3 times. That's a good sign for him because when he's doing that, it means he's not giving away at bats. He's not giving away outs. He's either pulling a fly ball and doing some damage, or he's getting on base. Or he's getting hit by a pitch too. I think that happened a little bit this week. So just an overall great week from him, and yeah, just really, really productive stuff.
Yeah, I like that pick as well. I'm a huge Paredes fan, so I think
He's
that
only
I'm
20.
more.
He's 23 years old. Like he's the second youngest like batter on the team, and he's been carrying the offense at parts. Like that's crazy. He's so
Yeah,
good.
it gives me so much hope for the because we have him for a while,
Yeah, a long time.
so it gives me so much excitement to see him become a full-time player at some point.
Yeah, definitely. And what about your arm of the week?
So I went with a starter. I feel like this was the perfect week to go with a relief pitcher, but I ended up going with Jeffrey Springs. 6 innings pitched, 3 hits, 0 earned runs. He did walk 2, which I wasn't a huge fan of, but he threw 5 Ks. So I went with Jeffrey Springs.
Nice. I went with Garrett Cleavinger. He came in relief, but he had 4.2 innings pitched, so kind of like a starter's workload. Just
Yeah.
he did it with a couple different outings. He had the best FIP on the team of 0.54, second best ERA at 1.93. So he pitched much better than. I mean, 1.93 is still good, but like he pitched better than that because he just didn't really allow any base runners except for a couple. He had a 40% strikeout rate, which was the best on the team. 0 walks, so that was tied for the best with like 2 other guys. He had the highest F WAR among pitchers at 0.2, which was tied with I think Springs and I want to say McClanahan. But just a great week from Cleavinger. He was such a steal at the deadline. Throws so hard, throws like 3+ pitches, tunnels them all perfectly. Nobody knows what's coming until it's too late. And he's going to be like him and Fairbanks, and I think all 3 of them are going to pretty easily be top 10 relievers like the rest of the way, and then through next season as well. Like you can't hit any of those guys.
Yeah, and like I said, I think this week is the perfect week to give that award to a relief pitcher. So I am 100% game for Cleavinger being the arm of the week.
I almost went with Criswell just because he came out of nowhere and dominated a pretty strong like Blue Jays lineup. Like they're like a top 5 offense, and he carved him up with his cutter and slider.
So it's funny that you say that because he was my second pick. I think I needed one more inning out of him for me to make him my pick.
Yeah.
But he was definitely up there, and exactly for what you said. Like he kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean he got added because of
Rayleigh.
Brooks Rayleigh. So like he doesn't waste an option. Not that he had any. He doesn't get DFA'd. He just comes up, makes a quick start, eats some innings, valuable innings, and then he's back down. So Yeah, there were a lot of weird roster things this week too, and I guess that kind of takes us into some injury stuff real quick. But Brendan McKay's done for the year. He got Tommy John surgery,
Again,
so he's on the 60-day IL, which opened up the spot for Kevin Herget. And then Ryan Thompson, his forearm stuff, he's done for the season. Like he probably could have had a chance at a comeback, but they just decided to shut it down. It's not worth it. So he's got 60-day IL. And then Shane Boz, he's officially done, which, that was kind of up in the air, but he's kind of in the same boat as Thompson where like he could try to make a comeback, but it's just smarter to, cut their losses and just let him get ready for 2023, which he'll be ready for spring training. Same with Ryan Thompson. So that opened up a couple roster spots. They added Herget, Rene Pinto, and Javi Guerra, and then also Brandon Lowe. He's back on the IL because of his back. So lots of roster stuff, but it's been fun kind of seeing like, some of the minor league guys come up, but I also just want the major league guys to be healthy.
Yeah, the Lau is this season's been rough for him injury wise. I feel like we haven't seen him very much this season, and it's kind of disappointing. And not on him, just in general, like a disappointment to not see him as our MVP of the team.
Yeah, I mean he's the best hitter on the team still. Like you need him, and with his back stuff, like it takes a long time for that to heal. And I know they didn't like rush him back because it's something that he was feeling 100% and he looked 100%. Like he was great until he started getting hurt again around like that last series in Fenway.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. I think he'll be able to come back because even if he's like 80% healthy and they stick him in the lineup, it's a better lineup than before. So yeah, he's still been a league average hitter this year while playing hurt almost the entire season. So if he's doing that hurt, if he can get like a little healthy, that would be awesome. But yeah, it's kind of like Tyler Glasnow, where it's like Glasnow was pitching on like a damaged ligament since like 2019, and he was still so good. And like Brandon Lowe has been playing with like a hurt back all season. He was still really good. So yeah, if he can just get healthy, even if he just comes back for the playoffs, like sit the rest of the regular season and then get in the playoffs, and that would be a huge boost.
Yeah, I guess the way that I look at it, obviously, like I said, Lau is our team MVP when he's healthy. So it's like, do I want to risk him coming back in the playoffs if he's not 100% and not for production production value? I agree with you that putting him in the lineup makes us better. But I guess I worry long term. Like I'd rather have him. Same thing I said with Franco a few weeks back on Twitter. I want to see him 100% healthy next year, as opposed to having him not be 100% next year due to us rushing him this year.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think they're going to rush him, but if there's a chance that he can play without like an increased possibility of injury, like they're going to put him back out there. They're a conservative team when it comes to, workload and health management, but they'll also take their chances when they feel like it's appropriate. So if they don't have Brandon Lowe for the playoffs, like it's not the worst thing ever, but not having him does make it a lot tougher on the pitching staff. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, in a shorter series though, like with plenty of off days, they can afford to be really aggressive with their pitchers. So like at the same time, it would be fine, but like 3 or 4 runs a game in the playoffs usually isn't going to cut it. Like you need more than that, and Brandon Lowe can provide that and help provide it. So it'll be interesting. Hopefully it's not too serious. Hopefully he can take like, a couple cortisone shots or whatever, and then he'll be good for like a month, and then he can really just rest and relax and rehab that back.
Yeah, and I think it's also important. I kind of tend to forget, like, these are grown men. So, like, if they feel like they could play and they trust themselves, then, I mean, I'm right there with you. Like, he does make our lineup better, so I'm game for him to play.
Yeah. I think not most baseball players, but a lot of them play through injuries. Like Yandy Diaz, there's no way he's been 100% all season with all the sliding and hit by pitches and like even swinging a bat. Like if you hit it off the bat the wrong way, it hurts. Like it doesn't feel good. That's why they wear batting gloves. So it's like he's just he's been playing a lot, and anytime they've had a chance to rest him, they've done it. So guys are going to play hurt all the time. Just hopefully it's nothing that is going to damage him long term if he's able to come out and play.
Yeah. So was there any other injuries this week? I think you hit them all, but
yeah, I mean, Roman Quinn is still on the IL with left knee soreness. I'm doing that in air quotes, but then he also did have a setback where he was ramping back up, and I think it was either his back or his quad was tight. So they're going to be careful with that, but I don't really see him sticking around anyways. Once he's healthy, I think they'll probably DFA him.
Yeah.
I did get another thing on Twitter a little while ago. They were asking at Real Zach Dab asked, which of these do you think would be most fun or likely to see in the postseason? So these are 3 scenarios. We've got Shane McClanahan going for a complete game shutout to win a series, Pete Fairbanks closing every single game and doesn't give up a run, or Brandon Lowe going berserk and wins postseason MVP by a landslide. Which of those 3 do you think is most likely to happen, or the most fun?
Most likely to happen is Fairbanks closing every game and not allowing a run.
Yeah, I think so too.
Most fun to see, I think that depends on how you like baseball. Because for me, I would love to see McClanahan throw a complete game shutout in a playoff game. But to most people, I think watching a guy like Brandon Lowe just dominate and win MVP by a landslide is the most exciting.
Oh yeah, that would be cool. Because to get MVP like that, he would have to have a postseason better than Randy did in 2020, and that was a historic postseason. So yeah, I'm with you. I think it's most likely we see Fairbanks continue to just dominate. And it would be most fun to see Brandon Lowe just go insane. So that was a really good question, though. I like that hypothetical.
I would like to point out to Zach, though, great name, by the way. But I would like to point out that I personally would like to see McClanahan throw a complete game shutout.
Yeah, that would be cool. I don't know if they would let him. I feel like it'd have to be a rained out 5-inning game or something. I don't know.
It counts, damn it.
Yeah, so that would be the complete game shutout. But I don't know. We'll see. I'm excited for postseason baseball. The Rays are almost essentially pretty much virtually almost guaranteed a lock. I don't want to promise anything, but it's pretty safe right now. If they go 500 the rest of the way, they're in. So
yeah,
they're in control of their destiny. So I'm excited though. We're gonna get into the postseason in a couple weeks.
It's exciting, man. It feels like baseball just started and it's already winding down. It's wild.
Right. I know the minor league seasons are winding down too. We talked about the low A and high A teams. Montgomery is finishing up their season. They've clinched a postseason berth. I'm pretty sure Durham is about to clinch. They're pretty tight atop the top of the standings there, but they're pretty much a playoff guarantee. I don't really see anything going too wrong there. So lots of winning in Rays baseball.
I mean, that's how you build a winning franchise.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I guess that's everything unless you had anything else. I don't see any more DMs, replies.
Yeah, no, that I think wraps up the show. I will ask you guys listening. Well, first off, thank you guys for listening to the end. We appreciate it. If you guys could do us just one favor, it doesn't cost anything. Wherever you're listening to this, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcast, wherever you're getting this, if you could just give us a like, follow us, just let us know that you guys love it. And then follow us on social media. We touched on it before, but it's at RBLR Sports. Go on there, follow us, reply to us. All of our social medias will be on the post. So if you go follow us, message us, let us know what you want to hear. I like the idea of us doing these subscriber requests for parts of the show. I love it. So if you guys want to do that and get a little shout out in there, please go ahead and do that. And aside from that, I'll send it over to Ben and go Rays.
Yeah, no, like Zach said, thank you all for listening. Follow us, do all that stuff, give us money. And Oh yeah, that about speaking about money, like 10 seconds here. Shot clock's winding down. The Rays are doing like really cool ticket promo, food promo
Yeah.
stuff, cheap parking. So get out to the games for the final homestand. Go Rays!
Thank you for tuning into this presentation by RBLR Sports. On your way out of the stadium, please remember to like and subscribe.